I'm Jessica Portasio reporting for UFC.com here in Sao Paulo, and I'm joined by a legend of the sport, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira. Minotauro, a lot of great fights this weekend, and it all kicks off in UFC Fight Pass. Um, what do you think about the three fights on Fight Pass?
Those fights will be great, all over this card they'll be well, and we have a lot of good fighters. I'm expect to see those fights. We have two guys from South Brazil who are fighting. They're two best talents they have in this season. So it'll be great fight. Korean, that's this kid. He can do amazing kicks. He was one of the main guys there in the last UFC Brazil season. So it was Mateus on the other side got a great boxing. He can move. He's a good-looking kid. He can talk good. He can promote himself, and he can shows that in the octagon. So it'll be like a great, amazing match. And the Viscardi will fight a really tough guy, the Russian guy. He's really tough. Viscardi is really good too. He's just came in for he's practicing his leg. He's kind of coming back. So he's really expecting to see how he's gonna act fighting someone that tough. They got almost the same record. Viscardi have a couple more losses than him. He got like 17 wins and 4 losses. Viscardi is well prepared. I trust his Muay Thai, his Jiu-Jitsu. It would be a great match to watch too. And the other side, Pedro Munoz gonna fight a guy who is really tough too. But from those three fights, that's the fight I want to see. The Pedro Munoz, that Brazilian guy is really tough. He's got a great stand-up. He's got amazing wrestling. He's been camping there in the United States for like 3 years. He's got a great wrestling, and that's the fight I want to see for that live pass card.
Now, looking ahead, which fight are you looking forward to in the whole card?
In this whole card this Saturday, I want to see Glover Teixeira. He's a really tough fighter. He's a true Brazilian. Like come for the toughness. Just moved to the United States. He working in that like a construction. He's a tough guy. And he just went back to the United States to train to camp over there. He's a tough kid. I love this kid. He's a tough fighter. He hits hard, he hits hard. He got a good like left hook. He's fighting Pat Cummins is a real true athlete, come from the Olympic. And it's gonna be amazing, exciting match. I can't wait to see that one. I think that's the most interesting fight in the whole card.
Who wins in the main fight?
In the main fight, it's gonna be a really good fight. That's a type of fight. It's like a Rolling Stones concert. If you don't see it, maybe you're not gonna see again. Those guys, like they're legend in the sport. I've been following them since he begins in the sport. I even before myself started. I've been fighting for 16 years, so then it's been like about 19 years in that sport. He's a very athletic, Olympic guy. He went to the Olympics. He wins everything he fought in MMA. Like he did he did a really good job in Japan. He just came back to the United States. He did a good job in Strike Force. He won the belt. He went to UFC. He won everything he fought. And he's part of the history of the sport. In the other side, you see Vitor Belfort is like a star in the sport for us, for the Brazilians. He's been fighting since '97, so he's a legend in the sport. He beat the Henderson beat Vitor, a couple years ago when he was better, training in the company this time. Now Vitor got better, like kicks, he can knee, he's much more dangerous fighter. That's not gonna be the number 3. I wanna see it. I will tell you it's almost 50-50. I'll tell you, Vitor have a little bit advantage because he kicks, he can knees, he can do something else. But he blind his eye, then can knock him out. So it's gonna be very interesting fight to watch. I'll tell you almost 50-50. I can even To me, it's kind of hard to risk, who's going to win the fight.
Thank you so much, Minotauro. Fans, don't forget to log on Fight Pass and FS1 for all the action this weekend.